What is up, guys? Rick is here, and today got back from my little vacation, and while I was gone, there was certainly some pretty big Destiny 2 news, but this isn't the traditional Destiny 2 news we really go over on this channel, like new additions, events, all that stuff. This is more meta. This is outside the scope of the game, because this is information coming from the recent Activision Earnings call. Now, this is where Activision talks basically with investors and shareholders, not directly, but kind of talks about how their products are doing from a business perspective, what's coming in the future, all of that stuff. They're usually pretty vague. Like, that's one of the first things that we actually had to confirm the existence of Destiny 2 coming. Back in the day, there was an earnings call and they said, yes, there's another, Destiny game in the pipeline type of thing. Again, they're very vague, but they do talk about the state of their products. And of course, one of their products is the thing we're all here for, Destiny. Specifically, they talked about Destiny 2 Forsaken's success or lack thereof, and some of the things they're planning to do with Destiny in the future. So let's talk about it. Now, if you already follow me on Twitter, you may know my general thoughts towards this news. We're going to expand a lot more on that in this video, but if you don't, definitely go follow me on Twitter. You're always kept up to date with the latest channel activity, and the memes are fresh, I promise you. So, on to the news. Now, the first thing is that during the conference call, they expressed that Forsaken, as an expansion, didn't do as well as Activision thought it would. So here's actually the direct quote from Activision. Quote, "While Forsaken is a high-quality expansion with strong engagement and new modes of play, it did not achieve our commercial expectations." Now, that's Activision publishing boss Cody Johnson saying that, and he continues, "And there is work to do to fully re-engage the core Destiny fan base." Now, let's talk about that for just a sec. That in and of itself, the first thing I actually thought when I heard that is, what the heck is Activision's expectations here? Because that seems slightly high, honestly. When Forsaken came out, my friends list was bumping. People who were ignoring Destiny, who weren't engaging with Destiny at all, were suddenly on the game. Were playing the game again. So whereas before Forsaken I would only have 1 or 2 pages in game of friends online, when Forsaken launched, and pretty long after, I would have 7, 8, 9 pages of friends online. Just from that perspective, it seemed like Destiny was bumping again. But thankfully, that's a pretty small sample size, of course, but I also make content for Destiny, and the engagement on YouTube also went through the roof, not just for myself, of course, but for, all Destiny YouTubers. Forsaken was amazing. So judging from all that, from personal experience, it seemed like Forsaken did really, really well and did a lot to turn Destiny around. So I'm kind of surprised hearing that Activision's like, nah, didn't do as well as we were expecting. Like, who's out there doing the calculations and trying to do the predictions for how well Forsaken will sell? I think they massively tried to oversell the Activision suits on how well Forsaken would do, because I feel like it did do very well, and anything more would have been very wishful thinking. But frankly, if you look at it one way, it's kind of a good thing. It's showing Activision and Bungie that you can't just release a subpar product with Destiny 2, something that threw away so many of the lessons that Destiny 1 taught, and then expect everyone to instantly come back when you fix those problems with Forsaken. A lot of people out there said, you know what, Destiny 2 really disappointed me, and I'm not willing to spend $40, a very premium price for an expansion, to come back. And I think that's totally reasonable. I've always said to people, with that mindset, that makes sense to me. For me personally, I have too much fun in Destiny, and I was enjoying Destiny 2 with Warmind more than I enjoy most other games, so it's a no-brainer to add on to that experience with Forsaken, and a lot of people fall into that boat. But again, I understand the people who left the franchise forever. Now, you can actually tell that Activision and Bungie realize that there's a lot of these players as well, the disenfranchised players, because they're actually doing a lot of things to attract brand new players. Destiny 2 was free on PlayStation in September, in my opinion, a brilliant move, and also it's free right now on the PC. So there you're attracting like just players who have no familiarity with the failings kind of Destiny 2 when it first came out, they're like, oh, a free AAA game? Of course. Like, who in their right mind wouldn't pick up Destiny 2 completely for free? There's no downside whatsoever. If you don't like it, you paid nothing. You lost nothing other than a little bit of your time. So making it free is a huge incentive to brand new players. And again, it kind of shows that they've realized, okay, we have these disenfranchised players who aren't coming back. Let's instead shift our focus to attracting brand new players. Not only does that make sense, frankly, it works. I had a lot of personal friends who picked up Destiny 2 because it was free, and 100% of them bought Forsaken. Like, every single one had fun and was like, you know what, I think it's worth spending the extra money and getting Forsaken, being able to play, well, you know, way more content and have a better game. And they all did so and actually still enjoyed the product very much, right? That's the thing. If you get the game for free and it's only $40 to get Forsaken, that's a lot of value. That's a lot of hours you're going to spend in Destiny 2, to be honest. So it's really interesting to see Activision's thinking and perspective on this whole Destiny 2 debacle, but they continue and say that, quote, they want to improve the pace of innovation and cadence of in-game content, saying that in Destiny, while also creating new ways for players to engage further with Destiny and spend more money through microtransactions. Okay, so this statement does apply to multiple franchises, but, you know, this is something that's being used again and again, and it's really kind of spreading, especially on Twitter, that Activision basically says, hey, this franchise isn't doing so well, we need to look at other ways to monetize it. We need to look at other ways to get the money we expected to get from it, and are looking at adding more microtransactions. Now, will they 100% do this? No, this could have been something they're saying to shareholders, and then, you know, Bungie comes back, especially after Black Armory, and says, no, our numbers are really good. With Black Armory, the engagement with the annual pass is fantastic. People are liking the content, and then Activision steps off. If Black Armory does better than expected, they can definitely back off and say, okay, well, we don't need to monetize it. We're still, you know, reaching our goals with these traditional expansions. But it's still something to definitely be concerned about, that they're looking at going this route, because basically at this point you're very much just milking the enfranchised players. You're taking advantage of the people who are addicted and who really love Destiny. And we've already seen a little bit of this. The direct purchase emotes coming into the game. You know, why is there no quest to go, or why is there no achievement or triumph or something to go and get the ornaments for the Whisper of the Worm? Why do you just have to buy that? You know, why do we have to buy the emote for Iron Banner, the one where you set the fire, all that stuff? Like, that was such a cool emote. Why wouldn't that be a reward for reaching the maximum rank or a very high rank in the Iron Banner? Gameplay wise, that would have been preferred. Gameplay wise, and if you play the game, of course, you want no microtransactions, none at all, and all of these cosmetic rewards put in the game as triumphs, as quest rewards, as things you can earn and achieve while playing the game. That is the better experience by a mile. But practically, from a business standpoint, that's just not going to happen. Like, you're fooling yourself if you think it is. Unfortunately, that's just the world we live in, and Bungie has got to pay their employees in some respect as well. But we've seen Bungie use microtransactions, I don't want to say for good, but non-offensively. Heck, for the event we just had, Festival of the Lost, we got a reasonable amount of completely free content funded by microtransactionable items that you could also, for the most part, earn by just playing the game in this time frame. In fact, for all of this, I really don't blame Bungie. In fact, Luke Smith, director at Bungie, actually tweeted out just today, kind of in response to all of this talk, saying, "We are not disappointed with Forsaken. We set out to build a game that Destiny players would love, and at Bungie, we love it too. Building Destiny for players who love it is and will remain our focus going forward." And that is honestly really reassuring words. I'm super glad that guy tweeted out, and it really shows, like, this is a very high up guy from Bungie. really shows that this concern here is from Activision, right? Bungie, it likes Forsaken, they're proud of it, and they're happy they put it out, and they're not necessarily concerned that it maybe didn't sell as well as some statistician who was overly zealous, right? They are happy with Forsaken, and that's a good thing, because frankly, I'm happy with Forsaken, and most Destiny players are happy with Forsaken. Now, the part at the end, the building Destiny for players who love it, is and will remain our focus. That seems to be a little bit addressing the microtransactions thing. You know, people worried that, oh no, they're going to turn Destiny into a slot machine. They're going to introduce, you know, all these ridiculous microtransactions. And Luke Smith is kind of saying, no, we're building it for Destiny. People who love Destiny. People who love Destiny don't necessarily love the microtransactions. So that, again, seems to be a little bit of a way to address that without saying, you know, we're not adding any more microtransactions, period. Because I doubt Activision would allow that to be said, you know, but it's a very interesting debacle we're at. You know, it's a very interesting turn of events that, you know, Destiny 2 went through this whole evolution and downward spiral just to get brought back up with, I think in some part, Warmind, but mostly Forsaken. But then, of course, Forsaken didn't do as well, and again, that's a lesson to be learned about you can't just make a subpar product and then expect everyone to forget. And then Activision scrambling and saying, you know, how do we justify this? What do we do? We got to monetize it. It's a big debacle. And hopefully this does not really impact Destiny negative in the future. I would say to Activision, to the people who apparently skipped the few days in business class where they talked about, you know, what are two factors in a successful product? Number one, positive word of mouth. Positive word of mouth rivals any marketing campaign, and also retaining existing customers. You'll constantly hear that it costs more to get a new customer than it does to retain an existing customer, and that is very, very true. You want to keep your existing customers, your existing player base happy, and shoving microtransactions in the game will not keep those players happy. Guess what will? Just making more good content. And hopefully Bungie sticks on the road it's on right now of just Forsaken was fantastic. If they can nail Black Armory and they can nail Joker's Wild and Penumbra, then it would definitely justify the cost of the annual pass. If, hey, all three of these expansions are good, they add more content, more stuff to do, everyone's happy, then you're going to start to get more players coming back from the game. The disenfranchised players, they may have been mad with Destiny 2, but if you present them with such a solid package that they can't deny the value, especially if you have like a Christmas special where it's $60 Forsaken and annual pass, boom, that's a deal. And that's for the full game, and if you already own Destiny 2, it's just $40, you get Forsaken and the annual pass added in, so you basically get the annual pass for free. Again, boom, that's a deal. And if all this content is good, you can start to bring the players back, and that's gonna really help get more money out of Destiny. Just making good content, making the players happy. People are more than willing to spend money on a product they already enjoy. Look at Fortnite. Right? Look at the value of a skin. A $20 skin, it doesn't even come close to the value of even Curse of Osiris. Curse of Osiris, you're getting content, you're getting a campaign, new weapons, all this stuff, a new raid layer. A Fortnite skin, you're getting literally a skin. But people justify the Fortnite skin because they're having fun in the game. They're enjoying the game, and they have no problem spending money on a product they really enjoy. That is something that, like, all the suits at these gaming companies always forget, right? They just think that, hey, we shove a bunch of stuff in the game, people are unhappy, but they'll still, for some reason, buy our microtransactions? No, that's not how it works at all, and I really hope that Activision reconsiders this notion of just shoving microtransactions into Destiny 2. Guys, hope you enjoyed this discussion. Kind of, you know, went on, but I had to get all these feelings off my chest. I was thinking about this for quite a few days as the information was coming out, and those are my thoughts and feelings on it. But what do you think? What do you think is the best approach for Destiny 2 going forward? All that stuff, let me know in the comment section down below. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, found it interesting, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, but not actually more guides and stuff, definitely hit that subscribe button down below. If you actually want to be notified of new videos, definitely hit that bell besides subscribe. Now, if you guys want to keep in touch with me and all the latest activity, by far the best way is to follow me on Twitter. That's linked in the description down below. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.